Archbishop Christophe Pierre, it's such a treat to be here with you in the Vatican Embassy in Washington, D.C. Thank you for having us here for this interview.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. You are welcome.
Thank you.
You know that this is the house of the Holy Father.
Yes.
So you should feel at home here.
I definitely do. Maybe a little too much. Well, I want you to tell us about this role you have, Papal Nuncio. What is it?
You know, the Papal Nuncio is essentially the representative of the Holy Father in a particular place, in a country, representing the Pope, mainly with the Catholic Church, you know, and all the components of the Catholic Church. First and foremost, of course, the bishops, but then also the priests, the religious, the lay people, and helping the Pope to be present. You know, the Holy Father has the mission to unite the Catholic Church. You know, he's the successor of the Apostle Peter. So he needs his personal representative to help him to do this, to assume this function. But we have also a more political role, if you like. You know, I am like the ambassador of the Pope with the government of this country. So it's a kind of dual role, but always done as a church. You know, it's because the church is not just a country like the others. But it is interesting to know that the Catholic Church, being a church, has always an incidence, a role to play in the building of the world.
Yes.
And we have some contribution to do this. This is why, you know, we keep relationship with the politicians, those who are in charge of the common good. We are part of the diplomatic corps. So it's a quite a complex role, but very interesting one.
Very interesting. Pastoral care and political initiatives to help further your ability to do that.
The politics is part of the human reality. You know?
Right, absolutely. And you've done this in 3 different countries.
Well, more than that. But
more than that. Tell me about
Actually,
that.
I've been, most of my priestly life, you know, I've been a priest for 51 years now.
Beautiful.
But I've been serving the Holy Father in this capacity, first come collaborator of a nuncio, then come as nuncio, for 46 years.
46
in 9
years.
countries, imagine.
That's beautiful. And in this particular role of leadership, though, you've been in Haiti, in Mexico?
Yes. Well, as nuncio, I was appointed first in Haiti 26 years ago, where I stayed 4 years. Then I was sent to Africa again, because I spent a lot of my life in Africa, in Uganda.
Okay.
I spent 8 years and 9 years in Mexico before coming here 5.5 years.
And which was your favorite?
All of them. Of course, you know.
I thought you would say Mexico, but
I always, it's a privilege to be representing the Holy Father. So you are received as, you know, the person representing the Pope, and in each country you discover people, first and foremost, but also beautiful realities, the culture, the life of the church, the struggle of the church, the suffering of the church. So we are called to share everything, and you know, this, whatever the country, poor country, rich country, you know, difficult country, country in war, country in peace, but they are always people, and I always enjoy that.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And bringing that pastoral care is something that we saw with Pope Francis's pontificate in a very unique way during the pandemic. In March of 2020, he decided that he discerned, right, that he would give this blessing, the Urbi et Orbi.
Yes, well, all of us, we have been touched by this moment, you know. That was the beginning of the pandemic, and people were afraid, you know, they were all closed in their homes. There was a lot of, the future looked bleak, and suddenly the Holy Father decided to go alone. You know, on the day where there was a lot of rain, you remember, you know, on St. Peter's Square. Usually St. Peter's Square is full of life, full of people, full of sun and so forth. And that day, that was the night. And he approached, you know, he was basically alone there, you know. Yeah. But the leader of the church, you know, the successor of Peter, that was first and foremost a moment of prayer. And everybody looked at him, and I think we all prayed with him.
In my life, there are two moments that marked me and that I think marked the world for my generation. It's 9/11 and then the pandemic.
Yes, exactly.
And in both of these moments, the church has been there as a leader.
Exactly.
Because of this extraordinary moment that did, in a big way, mark Pope Francis's papacy, it did speak to us about how he is trying to reach the world, trying to reach the peripheries. And we've seen that with all of the travel, right? 50 trips or something like that. What does 22 look like then, looking forward?
You know, it's interesting that from the very beginning, as everybody knows that, he wants to reach the peripheries of isolation, the periphery of suffering, the periphery of sickness, and so forth. Just to reach out the people where they are, And I think this is one of the characteristics of the Pope. So he is already inviting ourselves to go out of our zone of comfort. We are all tempted, to secure our positions, to be happy where we are. And this is the temptation of the world. Actually, in the speech he gave, in this meditation, on the St. Peter's Square, he said that, please, in my prayer, I ask myself to be freed from this temptation to remain, protected. Protection with walls, protections with securities, and so forth. Go out and announce the good news of the world. Our protections is Jesus himself.
That's right. He is everything. I know one of the big initiatives for Pope Francis is this deepening in synodality, this importance of listening. Yes. Is there a kernel of hope that comes in with that for the American church and the global church?
Well, certainly, first and foremost, I am full of hope for the church. There is no doubt about that, The church is bigger than ourselves, And the church is not just a human organization. We have the tendency, to panic because, our organization is falling apart, at times. We are missing the money, we are missing, the pandemic has been a time of crisis for that, But also sometimes we are missing the personnel and we are fighting between ourselves, There is a polarization in the society which is reflected by the church, all these problems. But on the other hand, I think we should never forget that the church is not just it's a gift from God, And if I am a priest, if you are a lay person committed to the church, it's because you believe that the church is in the hands of the Lord, Yes. So we are all invited to participate to that, and to be, I remember when Pope Benedict started his mission. I am a humble worker in the work of the Lord,
Yes.
And that's what we are. This is why he proposes us, synodality. Maybe this word is not yet fully understood, and I think it's important, especially in this country, to understand it. Synodality is not easy because we have to be together, but unfortunately, we live in a society where it's very difficult to be together, even in politics,
Yes.
In politics, we are just, divided. And if the divisions which we find in politics is reflected in the church, this is the end of the church. And to be church is to be together, but to be together not just with political means, with the capacity to listen to one another and to listen to the Holy Spirit. That's very important. And to discern. You told me, for example, of some experience of synods, for example, in Germany.
Yes.
I don't know exactly what's going on in Germany, but there is at times, even here, the temptations, to think that we have to make a different church according to our desires. No, we have to become church in order to evangelize, to announce the gospel.
Thank you so much. This has been a wonderful conversation.